as I've explored further and further in my musical journey, going from just making music in the box with MIDI controllers and my DAW, I've branched out over the years into external gear, synths and groove boxes and samplers, and now I am getting deeper into the world of pedals. And this pedal in particular, the Artifakt Lo-Fi Elements by Source Audio, is a really fantastic addition to my studio, and it actually inspired me to create a little pedal setup that somewhat mimics a tape machine, but also becomes a really cool ambient drone maker. We're gonna get all into that today. I'm gonna run a bunch of my machines through this Artifakt pedal so you can see what it's all about. I gotta thank Sweetwater for sending me the Artifacts today. All the links below will be Sweetwater affiliate links, so you can use those links to shop for gear. No extra cost to you, but it does help support the channel a lot, and it's pretty helpful that you can get advice from Sweetwater's gear experts. They've got fast shipping, and they've also got a warranty, so you're in the clear if something happens to your gear or if things go not as expected, as they will today. But that's enough talking. Let's run some sounds through this thing. One thing I didn't expect is for this pedal to have a very cool reverb. They call it a primitive reverb, something used in like 8-bit and 16-bit games. And now here's Glitch, which records some incoming audio, and when you stop playing, it spits it back at you. Randomly mangled and pitched. Kind of ripping on a solo here. Of course, I'm partial to tape emulation. Taking these like ultra clean sounds of the MPK Mini Play and making them sound like they're coming from a whole lot more expensive machine. Here's before and back to the 80s. Here's a very simple sequence played on the S1. Now let's punch into some vinyl emulation. Across the different lo-fi modes, each knob has a different function. So the Artifakt pedal is a lo-fi workbench, which actually it really lives up to this name because we've got several different types of ways of grading our sound, depending on your favorite brand of lo-fi. For me, tape is super nostalgic. I've actually invested in a few different little tape recorders over the years. Cassettes and tapes, that's like when I was a kid, that was the main media of the time. So I guess something about it just makes me feel really nostalgic, which is how I probably got into lo-fi beat making in the first place. Like making new music and dreaming about simpler times. I've even got a couple multi-track tape recorders, and these are really fun. I'm not saying we're replacing these cool old devices with a new pedal. I still like to sample from these things, but the problem with old media is sometimes you run into some old media kind of issues. Experimentation can lead to disaster. And also there's just not as much control over those devices, of course, because of their limitations. So I wanted to put it to the test. Let's record a drone from the Roland S1 into my multi-track tape recorder. Let's record that onto tape, and then let's record that same exact drone using some tape settings on the Artifakt pedal. You're definitely going to notice the noise on the multi-track tape player. The noise is kind of beautiful, but when you record a sound, you might not always want it to be there. This tape machine actually has DBX mode where it will try to remove some of the noise. But but you also lose some other important frequencies. Still, that natural tape warmth I don't think is something that we can ever truly replicate. But the Artifakt comes close, and the good thing about it is, again, we are in control. I think it does a really good job of sounding warm. We can make it go from like warm to hot with the destruct knob, and playing with the vary knob gives us a little like skip in the tape sound, a little pitch flutter. The Artifakt pedal comes with 2 postcards that are much more useful than most manuals I've ever used. And let's showcase that warm to hot with the destruct knob here. We've also got a filter, a mix, so from dry to wet. We can choose the bandwidth from low to high, varying degrees of lo-fi. Vary, which is the delay time. I love playing with that live. And then, of course, we've got our LFO. These are all unique to the different modes. And each mode has a special fun use for that second switch. By no means am I throwing out my tape machines anytime soon, but using this 4-track tape machine gave me a big idea. You see, one of the things I like the most about playing with tape machines is when you can physically slow down the speed of the tape and change the pitch, and it's like a mechanical action. Overall, we can get the sonic quality of the tape machine from the Artifakt pedal, no problem. But we can't really play with timing like we could on a tape machine. Luckily, I've got another pedal that can do just that. This is the Tensor pedal by Red Panda, and this thing can time warp in real time. You can slow down a sound in real time. You can change the pitch in real time. This thing even has a looper where you can play loops forward and backward, so it could be an easy way to make like tape loops and mimic a tape machine in this specific way. Combined with the Artifakt, we might just have a match made in heaven here. And once again, slowly but surely, I'm falling down another gear rabbit hole of pedals. And finally, of course, the hologram microcosm pedal. This thing can turn any sound into like ambient goodness. I mean, we can do reverb on this thing, we can do granular delay type stuff. This thing being at the end of the chain, I think, is basically gonna take it from just mimicking a tape player with the other 2 pedals to doing something bigger. All right, so here's what we have here. I'm just playing the Yamaha Reface CP. It's running through all the pedals, but all the pedals are bypassed currently. The first stop for the sound will be the Red Panda. If I turn that on, still no change because I haven't done anything to the sound yet. However, if I wanted to turn the pitch down, I can do that. And of course, you know, it's time stretching in real time. So it's not going to be perfect, but we're going for lo-fi here anyway, right? The other thing I can do is turn the speed down, which gets a little weird when you're playing live. But all the more fun to make things a little more lo-fi. Okay, so that is kind of the part of the tape machine where I can play with the pitch and play with the time. We can also make a loop on here. We'll talk about that in a moment. But now let's turn on the Artifakt. Let's switch it to tape mode for now. Getting a little bit of tape delay there. Let's turn that down. Now we're getting that nice wobble. So that's great. So let's turn the Tensor off. All that beautiful tape warble and wobble coming from the Artifakt. Turn the Tensor on. We're just degrading and stretching the audio just a bit, which I think is giving us an even more authentic lo-fi sound. Okay, next stop in the chain, the hologram microcosm. Let's put that on. These effects are going to sort of swell in. Let's hear where it goes. Any minute now. Here it comes. Let's bring the mix up. Right now, the microcosm, I believe, is playing our sound in reverse. Let's play it back to playing forward. And we could also now just do a quick loop. I'll pull the mix back. See if I can do this one-handed. There we go. We have a small buffer size on the tensor, so we can't just loop infinitely. But now that we've got that going, I can use the tensor and I can actually reverse the loop. Pull back the hologram microcosm. So that's what we got coming out of the tensor. Artifact back on. I also like playing with the vary knob in real time. And then dial back in the hologram. I want to thank Sweetwater once again for sponsoring this video. Use any of the links below to shop for gear. No extra cost to you, but when you support the sponsor, you do support the channel. If you think there are other pedals I should check out and start really going crazy with this pedal setup, please let me know in the comments. I'm looking for suggestions. Someone to navigate me down the rabbit hole. That's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video. Shout out to my channel members. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.